Have you ever sensed that something vital lies just beyond your reach? An unopened letter tucked away in the wings of your existence, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal its secret? You may have asked yourself why that longed-for breakthrough hasn't arrived. The answer isn't hidden in misfortune or delay, but in the very nature of how reality unfolds. Through alignment, not force. Picture a seed buried deep in the earth. No amount of pulling or pushing will coax it upward. Only when the sun's warmth seeps into the soil does it awaken, sending tender shoots toward the light. In just the same way, the answers you seek emerge not by demanding them, but by tuning your own inner frequency until you resonate with their truth. You've done the work. Hours of meditation, nightly affirmations, elaborate visualizations. Yet there's a stage that transcends technique, true readiness. Readiness is that rare stillness when your whole being can cradle the weight of revelation. The universe doesn't stall you out of spite. It waits in precision, guided by ancient laws that hum beneath every unfolding moment. Think back to those flashes of insight that arrived unbidden, a chance remark that shifted your perspective, a silent epiphany in the middle of the night. You didn't chase those moments. They found you when something deep inside quietly aligned. That's how the unseen delivers its gifts, when you become the person capable of receiving them. Desire is often confused with preparedness. Your mind scrambles, gathering plans. Your heart clamors, hungry for results. But the cosmos does not respond to urgency. It responds to vibration. Buried beneath longing lies an energetic signature, a subtle signal that must be clear of fear, doubt, and fragmentation to be heard. If that signal is muddied, your dream remains out of reach, not because it isn't yours, but because it cannot detect your call. True manifestation springs from inner coherence, not from lack. The moment your wish arises from a place of embodied truth rather than emptiness, it sets its own pieces in motion. An intelligence far greater than your reasoning mind arranges symbols, synchronistic signs, and perfect timing. An invisible language written for the soul, not the intellect. Perhaps you've glimpsed this language without realizing it. The same phrase echoing in 3 separate conversations, a number that keeps appearing on receipts and clocks, a nudge of intuition that won't be ignored. These are not coincidences. They are invitations whispering, "You are on the right track." But you must quiet the inner noise to receive them. Imagine yourself as a tuning fork. Strike it off pitch, and the world around you feels dissonant. Strike it true, and everything, doors, ideas, people, begins to harmonize. The symphony of your life has always been there. Your readiness simply determines whether you perceive its melody. Within you stands an invisible sentinel, an ancient presence woven into your consciousness. It gauges not the shape of your longing, but the purity of your vibration. This gatekeeper does not yield to intention alone. It yields to embodiment. Cling to fear, control, or performance, and the gate remains closed. Its purpose is not to bar you from joy, but to preserve the integrity of what lies beyond. Power obtained prematurely distorts rather than elevates. Spiritual law grants access not at the height of yearning, but at the depth of coherence. This threshold opens without fanfare. No trumpets, no declarations, just a subtle shift from within when the seeker dissolves into the knower. Transformation does not knock, it unfolds. It emerges when you have become someone who no longer needs the door to swing open because you already exist on the other side. That is the paradox of true readiness. You stop chasing truth because you have merged with it. No longer a seeker outside the gate, you are the one the gate was always waiting to acknowledge. In that instant, resistance evaporates like mist under dawn's first rays. What you once reached for now arrives unbidden, carried on currents of your own steady vibration. This is the alchemy of becoming, the gradual refining of your inner world until it can bear the weight of sacred knowledge. The key is not in the lock. It is in the heart that seeks entry. Readiness is not a measure of worthiness, but of energetic maturity. Your circumstances do not shift because the gate opens. Your perception shifts as you step through transformed. The gate was never a barrier. It was a mirror, reflecting whether your energy matched the vision you claimed to pursue. When your desire stirs yet remains unseen, you have entered what sages called the sacred pause. This pause is not a void, but an incubation chamber, a stillness pregnant with potential. Like the silence between lightning and thunder, it crackles with unseen power. In this silence, threads are weaving circumstances, people are positioning themselves, and timelines align with a precision your conscious mind cannot fathom. Here, the most potent act is trust. Impatience whispers that nothing is happening, tempting you to rake apart the soil to check on the seed's progress. But as with nature, manifestation has its own rhythm. The acorn does not hurry to become an oak. It rests, enveloped in darkness and nourished by silence. Your deepest longings require the same sacred hush before the bloom. If you rush this process, what emerges lacks foundation and cannot sustain its own weight. Surrender is not defeat, it is giving over. Moving from frantic control to graceful cooperation, your actions become fluid expressions of alignment rather than desperate attempts at making things happen. And in that flow, what once eluded you begins to coalesce, like mist crystallizing into morning dew. Your desire reveals itself not because you chased it, but because you stood unwavering while it took shape. The sacred pause was never a dead end. It was a preparation chamber, calibrating your readiness to receive exactly what was always yours. And then, in the quiet dawn of your unfolding, the stars begin to align. Not because you bent the cosmos to your will, but because you bent yourself toward its design. There is no trumpet call, no grand unveiling, only a gentle lifting of veils you never knew were there. The delay you once lamented now reveals itself as perfect timing, a divine choreography beyond your mind's grasp. Recall the moments when insight struck like lightning, an idea that seemed to materialize from thin air, a conversation that rerouted your life, a dream that illuminated your path. Those were not random sparks, but signposts on your journey, each one nudging you closer to the self you were always meant to become. Yet those flares only coalesced into a steady flame when you embraced the sacred pause and trusted the unseen weaver at work. This is the final act of alchemy, integration. You move from fragmentation into wholeness, from duality into unity. No longer two, seeker and sought, but one continuous flow of being. In this state, the universe does not hand you a gift. It recognizes you as its co-creator. The threshold dissolves, revealing that you were never outside looking in, but inside all along. Life shifts from happening to you to happening through you. Opportunities that once required struggle now bloom effortlessly. Relationships that once drained you now echo your own resonance. Ideas that once flickered faintly now burst into radiant creation. The invisible language of synchronicity becomes your native tongue, and you read its symbols with intuitive ease. Yet this cycle of asking, pausing, and receiving never truly ends. It is the breath of existence itself. Inhale, exhale, align, evolve. The task is not to escape this rhythm, but to learn its dance. With each step, each breath, you refine your inner frequency, tuning it to ever higher harmonics of truth. When impatience stirs, remember the acorn under the soil. Trust the darkness. Trust the silence. Trust the unseen intelligence weaving the tapestry of your life. Stop forcing outcomes and instead tend your inner frequency with moments of stillness, acts of courage and love that knows no conditions. In doing so, you become a living tuning fork, forever poised to resonate with the song of the universe. And when the world quakes under the weight of possibility, you stand calm and unshaken. You recognize that there was never anything to chase, only the you waiting to step into the light. In that moment, you don't receive revelation, you become it. So let this be your testament. The universe does not withhold, it awaits. It does not deny, it refines. It does not punish, it prepares. You were never forgotten, only being made ready. Now, with your heart as key and your vibration as guide, walk through every threshold as one already at home in the boundless wilds of creation.